Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have one of these diamonds in the rough that you guys need to know. His name is Josh Johnston. He's a wide receiver out of Colorado School of Mines. So nice to meet you, buddy.
Good to meet you too, Jimmy. Thanks for having me.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Mines had a phenomenal season this past year. I mean, part of really a great overall offense. Let's just be frank about that. And we'll get to talking more about that as we go along. So, why don't you start us off? Tell me where you're from and how you ultimately got to your school.
Yep. So I'm from Snohomish, Washington. It's a little town about 35, 40 minutes north of Seattle. Kind of a farming town, pretty small school, small town vibe. I grew up, playing kind of all sports I could get my hands on: baseball, basketball, football, a little bit of track, a little bit of soccer. Just played mostly just baseball and football in high school. Ended up getting brought out to the basketball team my senior year. Coach kind of convinced me to come on, but yeah, I had a good career in high school, but coming out of our conference, not really a big conference in Seattle. Didn't get a lot of looks. Went to all kinds of camps, and I actually worked out with the Ford Sports Performance, which is a kind of 7-on-7 and training program in Seattle, which was really good for me in my development early on. And but I didn't really get any big offers I was looking for out of high school. I had a buddy who his name is Mac Minahan. He's a linebacker at School of Mines. We played baseball for like 7, 8 years throughout high school, and he was going to Mines. He shot me a text. He's like, "Hey man, I think you should come along with me. You'd be a great addition." Kind of put me together with coaches, and I visited. That was May of my senior year, and it I didn't really have a spot, off the bat. I didn't even really have a walk-on spot. This is kind of an interesting story. I was
Mm,
kind of, you're gonna get a scholarship, and oh, we're gonna get you a locker spot, and oh, maybe you might be a film guy. And I wasn't super excited about that. And I called our coach, who's at the time Greg Brandon, and kind of called him over and over throughout that summer, asking if anybody quit the team yet, and had a locker spot open up for me, and somebody did, and I earned a scholarship actually in the first couple of weeks of fall camp, which was pretty cool. And kind of been sticking with Mines ever since. Was there for about as long as I could be.
right, right. So, yeah, interesting. So you ended up just kind of following a buddy, down from Washington. So, interesting. Um, let's just kind of hop back to your time in high school. I mean, during your time there, I mean, I'm assuming you played wide receiver because that's your position now. But did
Mm-hmm.
you play anywhere else?
I did. I played. I usually start out every year at free safety and wide receiver. We would have a lot of corner issues, so about midway through the year, I kind of usually end up going switching it over to corner and playing some man. But yeah, I played. I think I missed like 10 snaps in between my sophomore and senior year on offense and defense. I did punt return and kick return. Ended up, I think I was, yeah, first team all conference defensive back and wide receiver. So they'd actually thought about putting me out at safety. That's what my original workout was at Mines, was at safety.
Okay. Certainly could have been a possibility for you. I mean, and you could have made it work. Let's just be real. I mean, you could still be in the position that you are today. I mean, but yeah, I mean, you made it out there to Mines. And so let's talk about Mines, man. I mean, you make it out there from this. You go from Shinnomish. Is that it?
Snohomish.
I can't even say it right.
That's all
Uh,
right. That's all right.
but you make it out from this town outside of Seattle. You come down to Mines. What makes that school so special for you?
It's a really unique place. I think at the end of the day, what makes mine so special is just the people that it attracts. Um, it's a really tough place to succeed. A lot of people, I think we had 40 guys in my original class my freshman year, and after midway through sophomore year, we had 15 or 16. And not because it's a bad football environment, it's just really tough, vigorous, like academically.
Right.
It's all I think they just added some business programs, but it's like 33, 34 engineering degrees. So you go there, and not a lot of places in college football where you got 120 engineers on a football team. So it just attracts guys who kind of embrace difficult situations, and that definitely brings the team together. We have a really tight group there. A lot of guys I still am in contact with and look forward to being with for the rest of my life. And yeah, we had great coaches. Obviously, Denver is a great place to be. I grew up, spent a lot of time outdoors and going skiing and things like that. And while I was limited in college, I still could sneak a little bit in there. But yeah, I think just the biggest part of mine is just that embracing difficulty. It was I kind of thought about it. Kind of correlates to schools like Air Force and Naval Academy, where you don't really have a lot of time to slack off, or you kind of just hang around and play football. You got to be on all the
Sure.
time.
Well, I mean, the focus, like you were saying, I mean, it's really more so on academics. I mean, and that is sort of part of their recruiting, and they put these guys together and hopefully have a successful year. So,
Correct.
but through some good quality coaching, obviously this past season, excellent season. So go ahead and talk just a little bit more about that offense and maybe something about that Harlan Hill winner you got there under center.
Yeah, I probably should be mentioning him, but yeah, I mean, we had over the last 3 years I was there, our offense kind of just grew step by step. Our offensive coordinator Pete Sturbick is, just a really great offensive mind. Knew how to blend our strong running game. Mike Zeman is powerful back and able to kind of beat guys down play after play, and John being the playmaker and just kind of overall athlete on the field that he is, and is able to take over games. So we kind of had that 1-2 punch of running the ball, and then John, and then guys on the outside like me and Max McLeod and Tristan Smith and Mason Karp, all just guys who are consistent players, and that's kind of our marquee at Mines is we might not always be dazzling our opponents, so you might come out before the game and look at us and maybe think that it's going to go a certain way, but we just play consistent and smart football, and that kind of showed this year, and we kind of were able to open up, especially towards the end of the year, of really just slinging it, and if they were able to stop the run, we were gonna throw all over them. So it was
Right.
fun. It was a lot
I
of fun.
mean, you guys over the past several years have utilized really that running back there in Zeman. I mean, he's really been fantastic for you guys, and so really what that gives you is an opportunity to go out there as a blocker. And I know it sounds silly for me to talk to a wide receiver as a blocker, but I mean, you kind of have to do that. I mean, because if the focus isn't necessarily on you, I mean, you got to play your part. And
Right.
so I kind of have to ask you that question. How do you feel about that particular role?
Yeah, no, I love it. It's definitely been something emphasized all throughout Mines. I love to go out and hit, and I love to go block, and especially from the outside. We ran a lot of RPOs, a lot of bubbles,
Mhm.
and getting those H's and inside slot guys out in space. And I just spent a lot of time coming down, and whether I was just one on one with a corner or coming to crack safety a little bit, I enjoy that part of football, and that's always something I look forward to. So I hope to bring that over to
Great.
the next
So
level.
it kind of brings you back to the days when you're, a defensive player, right?
A little bit,
And you're
yeah.
really physical at the line. I mean, you're kind of, jostling a little bit in order to block for the guy. who's running, whether it be that running back or that elusive quarterback that you guys have there as well. So,
Mhm.
but also, like you said, I mean, they're able to open up the offense there towards the end of the season, giving guys like you an opportunity to put up actually some pretty good numbers, man. You put up about 1,300 plus yards. So, I mean, that's almost 14 actually. So,
Yeah.
um, as a receiver, um, give me some sense of like, what's your favorite route? I mean, if you're in a huddle, and I don't know if you guys do a huddle often, but when you're in that huddle and you get that call, what's that one route that you love here?
Yeah, I mean, I keep it pretty simple. If you probably watched it in my film, I love a fade ball. So it's you got one-on-one matchup in the boundary. A lot of times where I'd end up, and you see the safety going over to the strength side, and know that all I got to do is beat the guy in front of me, and that's something I've always prided myself on is going up and getting the ball and on top of anybody who's really guarding me, no matter where it is. I think that's one of my strengths is just being an aggressive player, and so it's probably going to be the fade ball, like a comeback or stop, but that's what's going to get me excited.
All right. Well, kind of along those lines, I mean, again, you're a receiver. How do you I don't know, how do you look at yourself as a receiver? How would you define yourself? I mean, would you say that you're a possession cut type of guy? I mean, do you think of yourself as a deep threat or what? I kind of want to hear it from you, man. Define yourself a little bit more as a prospect.
Yeah, I mean, I would say overall, I define myself as just a pretty aggressive receiver. Whether that be I know where to find spots and zones, and I'll look to my quarterback or whoever wherever that may be, and know where to be. And I obviously spend a lot of time blocking, can do that well. I talked about how I like to be like an aggressive deep ball guy, and I think that's something that I can continue to do at the next level. But whether they want me to be inside or outside, I think I've spent a lot of time at both. I spent time in my sophomore and a little bit of junior year playing a fair amount of inside, and I've been on both sides of the ball. I think I'm just a pretty comfortable football player all around as a receiver. I've just been doing it for a long time and perfected my craft. And so, yeah, I think whatever position they want to kind of mold me into, I think I'm able to do at the next level.
Well, don't take this the wrong way. I mean, obviously you do a great job being physical at the line, but I feel like the best thing that you might be able to be able to add to a team at the next level is really being able to step on the field day one as a special teams guy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and going out there, being aggressive, whether you're covering kicks or something. But I mean, I know you also do have some experience as a returner. I mean, I know that that was more so earlier in your career there. But
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about maybe revisiting that role?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's obviously something that's asked of younger guys, and or older guys too, but I'm definitely up for really any special teams they put me into. I've spent time on kickoff and doing some kick return, and I've kind of been working with my special teams coaches at the end of the year. I was trying to get them to put me on like punt return or near the end of the year this year. I knew it was probably wasn't going to happen, but yeah, whatever role I think I'm asked to do on a team, I just kind of want to do whatever I can to improve that, to improve whatever team I'm on. So yeah.
Yeah, and when you're the number one guy, man, I mean, they're not going to always put you out there and returning kicks and punts, man. Like that's a risky spot. You know how it goes. I mean, people get
Yeah.
injured on special teams, and so of course your OC was like, let's not put him out there all the time. I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
hey, I mean, they were able to use you, fairly often. And let's kind of talk. I mean, over the years, man, you've been able to accumulate a ton of accolades in your own right. All American this year, been all conference athlete several times over. When you look at all that you've accomplished there at Mines, What are you most proud of?
I think it's really just the kind of progression since my first day coming in freshman year all the way back in 2017. Seems like a long time ago, but mine wasn't really on the national map at all. And I think that was one of the big reasons I came back that kind of redshirt senior year was we got to that semifinal game against Valdosta and a little bit on the national stage. And we knew we had all the tools to kind of come back and do that again. So I'm kind of proud of where we left the program. You see a lot bigger recruits coming in and seeing Mines as a true like football destination other than just an academic institution, which is very great in its own right. But just knowing where I've kind of left the program better than where I found it, and obviously coaches had a huge role in that, and Coach Brandon, who was there when I first came in, and had a lot of experience coaching at the Division I and FBS level, and kind of knew what it would take to elevate Mines, and he spent a lot of time, schmoozing donors and just kind of raising the pedigree of Mines football. And then our coach Brandon Moore, obviously taken over the last year, and really knows how to get a team fired up and inspire confidence in players. So I think the program is just in a really good place, and I'm happy to be leaving at that point.
Awesome. So, yeah, I mean, it's better to be able to say, you know what, this program is really growing, and you being a part of it. So as we kind of look at those moments, I mean, again, a lot of great ones. There in the playoffs, really fighting and clawing and trying to get that championship. But when you look at all those games that you were a part of, what's that one moment? What's that one highlight of yours personally that you're proud of? I'm just saying, give me one of your best plays.
One of my best plays, probably one of the more fun plays. I don't know if it's my best play, but that game against Shepherd in the semifinal when we were kind of picking up momentum, and Marv K Stadium was kind of the most packed and loud it's ever been, and our defense is really just giving Shepherd fits. And the play was actually ended up being on Sports Center Top 10 when our quarterback John somehow gets out of like 4 or 5 tackles, ducks under everybody, and kind of just looks like he's checking it up. The announcers thought he's just throwing it away, but I'd really been coming back off of a little fade ball, and coming back and working the ball and scooped it off the ground and scored a touchdown. And yeah, I just still can remember it very, very clearly. And after that, it seemed like, the game was kind of in the bag. So it was, that was one of the more fun moments of my career for sure.
Awesome. Well, I mean, again, put together a pretty solid career. I mean, obviously didn't end ideally, but I mean, I still think that you ended on a fairly good note. And have a pretty decent resume here that we're looking at. I mean, we're looking at a guy who's a winner, who can do a lot of things, who can stretch the field, who can be that tough guy at the line of scrimmage, and um, pretty decent size, almost 6'1", 194 pounds. So a lot going for you. And so after your time was done there at Mines, you had an opportunity to go to the College Gridiron Showcase at their small school event. So talk a little bit about that for me, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a good confidence booster. Honestly, it's obviously something that I've heard a lot in this process of whether the competition I was going against was good enough. That was kind of a conversation when I was in high school, is whether I was going against guys who were good enough that if I could really play at the college level. And I think kind of at every event and occasion where I've been up against competition that's like rising and up against better talent, I've been able to perform. And I don't think that showcase was any different. I was able to make plays throughout the time and impress the scouts and coaches that were there. So just kind of a confidence thing for me of knowing that I can play at that level. And I think I gained a lot also from high school playing on that just as a 7-on-7 team, but I was a traveling team, and we played. I think I was like the only one of the only guys on that team that wasn't at a big Power Five FBS school.
Mm.
But I was able to compete at that level too. So I think throughout my career, I've kind of shown that it didn't really matter who I was lining up against. I just am a football player who's gonna find a way to get it done. So
Gotcha. Well, I mean, certainly I feel like you as a prospect, like you are gaining some momentum with your stock. I mean, you went out to the CGS, showcase yourself out there. I mean, show that you can run some routes and play against, even, D1 competition, man. I mean, there's no more of this I'm a small school guy, kind of mentality. You're able to go up against some D1 guys and make some plays. And um, here lately, you actually had a pretty good pro day as well, man. I mean, your pro day was pretty darn good. So I want to kind of list some of these numbers and correct me if I'm wrong, but some of these are actually pretty good. So first off, out the gate, man, 19 bench reps of 225. I mean, you're a wide receiver. So, I mean, that's a really good number, showing that you can be that physical on the line. But
mm-hmm.
6.783 cone, 414 shuttle, 38.5-inch vert. I mean, and a 10-10 broad jump. Is that correct? You almost hit 11. Is that
yeah, I was hoping
accurate?
to get 11. Yeah, wish I got those 2 other inches, but yeah, I've always been a jumper, so yeah, I can.
So, yeah, I mean, these are some good numbers, man. I mean, this is like a legit numbers to look at. I mean, obviously a guy that can be a jumper and really, whether it's, getting off your blocks, so to speak, or having that burst off the line of scrimmage, will certainly give you opportunities at the next level. How did you get here, man? I mean, I mean, you said you've always been a jumper, but how in the world do you get some kind of these numbers?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something I've always been able to do. I'm big in the weight room. I've spent a lot of time, and then I think going back to when I was like 11 or 12 years old, I convinced my dad to buy me those box jumps, and I spent a lot of time on the garage just jumping up on those box jumps or doing one-legged pogos up the stairs. So I'm kind of one of those guys that just like to try to find any way to improve, and I knew that was a strength of mine that I could keep building on. And obviously it's going to translate to just being explosive on the field. And I think if you watch my film or see that my lateral quickness is there, as well as top end. I obviously didn't get really the 40 time that I wanted to. I feel like I can run faster than that, but I think if you just look as an overall player, I've just spent a lot of time, developing that in the weight room or on the field, and something I love to do.
Okay, well, I mean, well, hey, man, obviously you're not a track guy. As far as I was able to find out, I mean, I wasn't able to really pull up, much track and field data on you, but this is
Nope, I did a little high jump in middle school and a little bit into like freshman year high school, but not really long
right. But I
term.
mean, again, these are some solid numbers, man. I mean, you're again, like I was saying, I mean, putting together some momentum. You making some scouts. Go back and watch some of that film. So you are putting yourself in contention to being a legitimate prospect. So how do you feel about that? I mean, obviously, coming from the D2 ranks, being now considered a guy that can make it at the next level. I mean, has that really hit you yet?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely something I'm proud of. I was actually talking to one of our coaches today, and he was kind of saying the same thing, how it is crazy how scouts are asking minds to put on a pro day or to send out their guys info, because this wasn't really a thing that happened too often. But I saw, I don't know if Brody Oliver was a receiver a couple years back at Mines, who broke a ton of records. And and with someone's game who I really looked up to, and as in the game, and also as just a mentor. And yeah, I just thought it's something that I was capable of, and I thought I had it in me. And it's been a really fun process of just, you know, spending time with guys who are looking for that same goal, and to get to the next level. So, I'm waiting to see how the cards play out, but just, staying ready for whatever opportunity comes.
Interesting. Well, Josh, let's switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk something that's really just not football, honestly. Tell me something about yourself that you feel people need to know about you, man. Whether it's your hobbies, your interests, your passions, your goals, anything else about you that you feel people need to know. So, give me something for the people, man.
Something for the people. Yeah, I mean, I feel like anybody you talk to about me knows that I'm somebody who kind of just likes to live life to the fullest. I'm always out trying to do something, whether it's I do a little bit of like wildlife photography. I love to ski and hike, in times I can. I know that, in an NFL career that I don't want to do anything to hurt myself. So I don't want to do anything too crazy, but I just love going out and seeing what life has to offer, and just really enjoying the journey. So yeah, I'd say that's probably something about me. Obviously, coming from mines, there's a lot of academic stuff, and I spent a lot of time in school. I got 2 degrees in mechanical engineering and engineering technology management. I have, I think, options I could pursue outside of football, but I talked to a lot of people about it, and I've just kind of figured out that it's really what I want to pursue, and I have a lot of guilt if I left something out there. So
So, again, just kind of along those lines, I mean, what could you see yourself doing? I mean, what are some possibilities? Because I mean, obviously, you got a lot of, you got a lot of options, man. What would you see yourself doing?
yeah, I mean, as far as like my internships have gone and what I think about doing, I'd like to get in like the renewable sector of doing like some project management, and, starting as a field engineer and work my way up to doing, wind turbine or solar projects. I spent this last summer actually at the Coors factory in Golden, which was a cool experience. Worked in a power plant there. So I think, just finding a company that I fit into, and just building myself as an engineer, and seeing where that goes. But obviously seeing how football plays out first.
Nice. Well, I mean, of course, that's what we're here talking about. We're talking about you as a prospect, who I feel a lot of teams really need to get to know. So, uh, as we wrap up our time, I want to give you an opportunity to talk to all those people, man. Tell them why this kid from Colorado School of Mines is for real, like, and why he would make a great addition to their team. So, hit them with your pitch.
Yeah, I'd say, I'm just somebody who's going to find a way to make it work. Um, I've always been kind of a battler, and whatever position I'm put in on any team at the next level, I'm gonna find a way to contribute to that team and make it better than where it was before. And whether that's, just being a good locker room guy, or being a special teams guy, or I don't think that those are things that limit me. I think I could be a really successful receiver at the next level. But I'm willing to just kind of put in the work of working with quarterbacks, or doing whatever I need to perfect my game. And that's something that I pride myself on, is, just being coachable, and knowing any faults that I might have, and spending a lot of time fixing them. So I think you're gonna find a guy who loves to play football, and who's gonna, leave it all out there, and have a great time doing it. So
Awesome. Well, Josh, really appreciate getting to know you. It's been fun, and do wish you the very best of luck moving forward. All right, sir.
all right, Jimmy, thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Sure, man. Once again, Josh Johnston, wide receiver out of Colorado School of Mines. Definitely check him out, as well as Mines. So, thanks again.
Thanks.